why don't we try, even though this course is set up already, I have a blank one ready to go as well. Let's just see what we can do with modules. We're going to do auto-generate modules. So what I'm doing here, auto-generate learning modules. And now this already has information to pull from. So let's see what we get on the auto-generated side without really feeding it any information. Okay, so we see this is auto-generated content. I'll say, check for accuracy, bias. And it's not giving you all the assignments or quizzes or assessments. It's just auto-generated based on information that's already in your course. And if you don't have information in your course, it's going to pull what has been fed or programmed based on probably the course title or whatever metadata it can pick up. We're going to test all that here in this live stream, so that should be kind of fun because we want to know, okay, if I have a Blackboard shell and it's music or history or psychology or philosophy, and there's nothing in there, and I start with this, is there going to be a difference? So we'll do that. Now, this is pulling information from the course, but it's also pulling information from things, like I said earlier, been better programmed. What if we put in something in the box? So I've got some notes here, and we're gonna run some experiments. I'm gonna put in there, generally speaking, I'm copy and pasting a few things from my notes here, my hidden notes. So I'm going to enter a description where it says define learning modules. This course covers understanding music through the study of cultural periods, major composers, and musical elements. Well, it could be certainly more descriptive in terms of, is it Baroque, classical, romantic, modern day music, 19th century, 20th century. But let's start with that and let's see how that goes. And we're going to hit generate. I'll leave the complexity level where it is, a little past the mid-level, and we'll say for now 4 learning modules is a good experiment. Generating now. Now we do kind of have to wait for this to happen, and while it's pulling from stuff already there and what it has, this is interesting because I didn't really have to tell it much, right? I just put a very basic, it's like, is that ambiguous? Is that giving it enough information? And this is what's interesting. So it's a very basic description of, okay, it's a music class and we're studying periods. And it's saying, well, introduction to music appreciation. Cool, sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty basic thing in a lot of classes. Now, obviously, we have to go through and read it through and okay, check it for bias or maybe things that, possible inaccuracies, these kind of things. It's not going to be perfect. But you can see it's given us a very linear approach. Certainly nothing wrong with that. That has probably been, of course, fed into the artificial intelligence there. So we got to remember the way AI works. It's not pulling from organic live material. It's pulling from what it's been fed or programmed. And then when we're doing this, if all it has is just a keyword, it's gonna use the keyword, but it's not gonna be 100% that particular keyword or description. There's always going to be a combination of what it's been fed or programmed, what you're putting in descriptions and or whatever the text-based box is for giving it information. It's not thin air. It's not organic and live necessarily, although the description information I'm putting here is certainly organic and live, where it's like you're doing it right there. But it's not just going to focus on just what you're putting in, and it's kind of combining a few different things. So what if we do something different? I'm going to try one more thing in terms of auto-generating modules. And I'm not going to add them in the course. I'll do that in a little bit where we start from a blank slate. But I just wanted to kind of show you, introduction to music appreciation, medieval, Renaissance, Baroque and classical, romantic and modern. You don't have to use this. It's certainly a tool. I think that's the emphasis here. It's a tool that we can use to help us streamline efficiency, ideas. Maybe it generates, you got some ideas and you're just trying to, flush them out. Using this as a tool can be really, really powerful. Now I'm gonna take this out, okay? And we're gonna go to select course items. Okay, so so when we select our course items, let me make sure I'll keep an eye on sharing all the tabs with you in the live stream today. Okay, so I need to go to content, and as I'm going through all this, I want to just pick some things so that the AI is actually pulling from that. Now, at the moment, this can be a little bit tedious because it's not set up in a batch edit format in terms of batch adding or editing, these kind of things. So I could do that, but it's not going to give me everything. So what I want to do is, let's see, elements of music. Now, well, the cool thing is I could do it from the module overviews. That's interesting. Let's try my module overviews. Let's see how that goes. We'll add the module overviews, and we'll just see because my module overviews actually are explaining everything. And if I put that could be pretty cool. All right. So adding all the module overviews, and I'll show you one as a sample example. All right. So we got one more. Oops, sorry about that. Let me make sure. Okay. And then we need to get the classical era. Yeah. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, let's select these items. And so now it has something quite a bit more specific to pull from. And we're going to generate. Now, it does take some time. You just got to exercise some patience. I mean, it takes some processing power, some patience, some time to kind of get all this rolling. So you see it's generated some stuff here, and it's like, yeah, check for accuracy, bias, that kind of thing. We get, it's doing it based on the weeks. That's interesting too. Giving us pictures. I think it's a cool thing. It's giving us pictures and descriptions, and it's pulling from the information that came from my module overviews. So this is another way that you can do it in terms of defining the learning modules, whether you just auto-generate from it, just pulling from the course, generically speaking, or we put something in the description box and it pulls from there, or we select course items, whether they be, audio lectures, video lectures, text. We can go over to select course items, and if I try something else, just as an experiment, I'll go to content and I'll do module 1, the elements of music. I'm going to hit in here in that content, and what I want to do, if I click elements of music 1, PowerPoint and audio lecture, now it doesn't break down further, but if this did, it does have me curious in terms of if I had maybe the audio lectures on their own page, how is it going to be able to sample from there? Probably that's maybe some new territory for all of us to kind of take a look at in terms of how it's embedded, or can the AI pull from all these different kinds of media inside the course. But let's try. I mean, maybe it just samples from the PowerPoint text, and I'll apply changes on that, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's generating. Yeah, just take some time. Okay, so introduction to music appreciation, the elements, beat and syncopation, exploring. Yeah, so maybe not as awesome as we want, but it's really, we can see in this, it looks like it's really dialing in. I was saying earlier that it's combining data, but it looks like that it's really dialing into what I'm asking it, to do. And it's still going to get, where it's looking at what it's been fed or programmed, but it looks like it's really, as I'm asking it more and more, it's we're getting more fine tuned, and it's really paying attention to the kind of pictures and things that it's doing, and the text. So a lot of this is just tinkering, exploring. Okay, so yeah, that's some cool things, and we can change the complexity level. We can change the number of learning modules. I'm going to go back to. All right, we want to take a look at. Go back, take a look, see if I can make my decision here. Maybe this module, like a module overview, or maybe like basically putting in a course learning outcome, or first one I think I did was a course description, right? So let's do the course description. I'll put the course description back in. All right, so we've got the course description back in, and I'm going to go to select course items. Let's take that off. All right, apply changes. Going back to where we were earlier, it's a basic course description. Sorry, let me go down to generate. Okay, so it gives us that, it's still going there. Still working. Gives us that general but pretty linear approach. Now why don't we try maybe play with this a little bit. We'll go 7. This adjusted the complexity. Regenerate. Yeah, what it generated earlier for the where I put in an actual description was better. This is interesting. You see how it keeps that linear flow going? And I don't have all of these things that it's mentioning in terms of the learning modules. So while I put the description in there, I didn't have to say anything about 20th century contemporary. It's following that, linear approach. But it's kind of cool. I mean, gives you a starting point. We got a tool to work with that is super helpful and just kind of, starting points, ideas. And for many, it might be like this could be a go-to for some, and that's great. I mean, you got to, you know, do what works for you, use what works for you. And we're always trying to find ways, like creative ways of different kinds of tools that we can use to help us in terms of streamlining efficiency. And that's something I'll always come back to in these live streams. It's what we're trying to figure out. So these are pretty great. This is cool. Go all the way down: Introduction to Music Appreciation, Medieval and Renaissance Music, Baroque, Classical, Romantic, 20th Century, Contemporary. And if we just pick one, like classical music, explore the classical period music, focusing on composers like Mozart, Haydn, and Beethoven. Analyze the structures and forms of classical compositions, including symphonies, sonatas, and concertos. I think the thing that people are going to ask and try to figure out is like, well, is it pulling only from the description box? What has it been better programmed? Is it organic? Is it live? And I'll try to keep coming back to those things because I know it can be a challenge to figure it out, like how everything is kind of working behind the scenes. And in this case, there's probably going to be always a little bit of both. My class already has so much information in there, but it's also possible that this is just from, what's been better programmed into the AI. It's going to sound like a broken record talking about those kind of things. However, we want to just keep that on the tip of our tongues to just really understand where things are coming from. And I'll do some different videos and streams that'll, just basically keep digging into these kinds of things to help us be able to use it and be comfortable. So I hope that helps with the learning modules. I'll do one more thing with learning modules, basically on a clean slate. I'm not going to apply these, but, if we want to add them to the course, just select them. Just go down, click all the boxes here, and add them to the course. Let's see. Now I want to share a blank slate with you. So you see American music, and it's clean. And then it, if I click over here and I go to, say, messages, basically click on everything real quick. I'll go from the back end. Groups clean, analytics clean, messages clean, gradebook cleared out clean. Okay, discussions, nothing there. Announcements clean, calendar good to go because there's no assignments or anything. Content good to go. And then if I go back to tools, share the tab so you can see it. Cool, clean. It's completely fresh. Only thing that is in the course is it's just with it says music, right? So I'm going to go back. So then the idea is, like, if I do the module thing again with American music, what is it going to come up with based on when it's been better programmed versus anything I actually have inside the class? Or this is where it's going to get really interesting because I'm not going to really give it anything to work with. All it has is, what you see here, Ultra MU Site 1310 American music. Okay, let's do it and see what happens. We're going to click on auto generate modules. Okay, so here we go. I'm not going to give it anything. I'm just going to see what does it do in a blank slate. And I think that's important to know too for using auto generate learning modules. Isn't that cool? So, and as I've been testing this for quite a while, I feel like even for me, I'm just scratching the surface. But as I've tested this before, I've been pretty surprised by the kind of things that I've been seeing as well. So it knows what the course is. I didn't have to tell it anything. So it does make it obvious that on a blank slate, the only thing that defines what this course is the labeling. And so the AI is that sophisticated where my course is blank. There's nothing on the front end. There's nothing on the back end, but it's pulling from the word American music. Let me highlight that in the stream here. So let me get. Sorry, I'm clicking around on tabs that you can't see. I'm changing the share tabs of things that I want you able to see as we're live today. So you see here, it pulled from Ultra MEOSI 1310, but specifically it focused on that American music. It knows it's a class, a college course, obviously been programmed for that, and it's looking for any indication of what is this class, what can the AI do to generate, and it gives us introduction to American music. Explore the rich history and diverse genres of American music. Learn about the cultural and social influences that have shaped American musical traditions. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. I'm not going to read them all, but you see as it goes down, classical and folk music traditions. This is interesting. That's an unexpected one for me. That's neat. Jazz and blues, popular music from rock and roll to hip hop. Wow, this is really interesting, and it's all based on 2 words: American music, which I didn't put. That was just how my developmental shell was labeled. So kind of sit on that for a moment and think about the coolness of that. Now, if I go to the next step and I actually wanted to put something in here, obviously, like I did earlier in the music appreciation, it's going to change everything. Now, I don't have all the course learning outcomes or course description right in front of me. I mean, I could type it in there, but we already did that in music appreciation. I think the whole point for me in showing you a different class was what happens on a blank slate. Now, I'll continue the experiment just to add them in there, and we'll maybe come back and try some other blank slate ideas. I'm going to go ahead and make it visible. Doesn't mean you have to use all these. You may not like them. You have to check for bias and accuracy, and whether you're using this to flush out ideas, or you want to come up with something new. Maybe you just want to come up with something cool and snazzy. But again, I mean, learning how to use this as a tool, it's not going anywhere, and it's something that if we can continue to embrace as an option, a tool, something to help us with streamlining efficiency. It's hard to say, again. Check it out. Don't shy away from it. Give it a whirl. Now, for me personally, I do a lot of custom stuff, but I do like to dabble in experimenting in terms of, okay, well, what if I try this kind of image, or what if I try this? So what I've been doing really for me is trying to figure out a good blend and balance of using these AI tools to help me in terms of, wait, I'm out of ideas, let me try this. Or wait, I have a bunch of ideas and there's too many, let me try this. Okay, I have some description ideas, let me see. Or I need a picture. And while I do a lot of my own custom stuff, I do think these tools are really cool and robust. So you see me just kind of scrolling, having fun while I'm chatting with you. All right, let's go back. We're going to take a look. Let's go. I'm going to share music appreciation. We're in the music appreciation developmental shell, and we want to take a look at the paper assignment. All of our music appreciation, all our music appreciation courses, American music. Many of our courses are including this college paper. So in week 15, you can see I've got this. Let me click back on it. Video under concert paper. All right, video under concert paper, attended musical performance, or completed video response paper, and 2 to 3 pages, MLA. I mean, I've got samples in the course, different options in terms of what you can do for attendance of concerts. Everything's laid out in terms of criteria, but you don't want to necessarily grade willy-nilly. Obviously, there has to be criteria, but even when we have the most amazing criteria, at least we think it is, we try our best. You have samples and criteria, rules for submissions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe you want to, take it to that next level, and you want to have some kind of a rubric, and you're just curious. Okay, well, this is an AI session. Can I do that? So let's take a look. Okay, so I'm taking a look at all the settings. Submission. Let's keep going. Looking at all our tools here. Use grading rubric, if I can see that. All right, let's add a rubric. Now, what we see is create, generate. I'm gonna hit show more. Okay, let's hit generate. Now, I'm not giving it anything for generating the rubric. I'm just letting it go, and so it's going to pull text from things that I have in my, in Blackboard from the actual assignment. Now, and depending on I mean, maybe it could just it may just be pulling from feeding and or programmed information as well. But it's one of the reasons. I mean, I already know I ran all these tests before here, so I kind of know the lay of the land and where it's going to take us. But I think it's good to see this kind of in action. Now, it's taken a little bit of time to generate the rubric. When I ran the practice, these things sometimes can take a little bit. I do have some keywords and descriptor type things that will run as a test. All right, so we got an auto-generated, say this is auto-generated content, needs to be checked for accuracy and bias. All right, so if we take a look at the rubric, now we got to understand in terms of the rubric type, when we go over to rubric type, percentage, range, points, however you prefer to do that, obviously you can play around with that. Are you going to make it straight up percentage? Are you going to do range? Do you want to do points range? Definitely a cool way to delineate how that's going to be graded. And in terms of complexity, we've got from low to high, and you can just kind of move the slider where you want. Decide how many columns. It's doing generic 4. Decide how many rows. 4 columns. We got 4 there. A little bit less than the midpoint on complexity. And if we look at what we have generated, depth of analysis, reflection on music, evaluation of environment, overall experience. Now, as I was saying, I've ran tests for hours beyond hours, maybe too many hours. The interesting thing that I see happening is, in terms of evaluation of the environment, I'm actually talking about that in the text. It's pulling that from what I typed in Blackboard. Overall experience, I typed that in Blackboard. Depth of analysis. It's, that looks like it's more of a combination of what I typed versus maybe what's been fed or programmed. And that's pretty interesting. So you can see in terms of criteria, depth, reflection, evaluation of environment, overall experience, and it's breaking down the percentages, 30, 25, 20, 25. Certainly you could, however you want to, set all these things. We could take us a step further and trying to, maybe you like this, but you want to make further changes. You can certainly edit and change things in the rubric. Right now, we're just looking at it before we go to the next step, the continued step. Now you can see exemplary, proficient, developing, emergent. So when you go down the criteria, depth, reflection, evaluate environment, overall experience, you see that, and then you go, okay, well, how's that? What does that all mean? Then you look at, okay, the exemplary, and then proficient, developing, emerging. This is, a pretty cool way, and while it might seem super generic, this is a great starting point to just really get things rolling. If I were going to use this, I would certainly want to modify some things. Now, for a moment, I'll hit continue on the rubric, but I also want to run other samples, other trials here. So if we hit continue, isn't this kind of cool? Once you hit continue, then this is where you start to select how you want to do everything in terms of percentage, range, point range. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. And then I can go in here and I can edit everything. I can edit, I can change the word exemplary. So all exemplary, proficient, developing, emerging, you can change the words. You can go in and edit everything. So I can edit the depth of analysis. I can edit all this. I click there. I can edit the percentages. As you can see, everything just pops right up. Names, percentages, descriptors. If I click one of the criteria, depth of analysis, check it out. Look, it's the same thing. It's not like it's locking or blocking anything. Once it gives you that workable idea, template, maybe you think it's awesome and you just roll with it. But that's the cool thing is getting the ball rolling, and you can change whatever you want. I think the thing about our time being such a precious commodity is that there's only so much of it. And if you're sitting in a room, an office, Starbucks, wherever, and you're just trying to come up out of thin air, now we're probably not doing that. We all have our own resources as music professors, English professors, math professors, biology, um, etc. Philosophy, history. We all have obviously our awesome resources that we use in terms of go-to for these kinds of things. Um, but there are some of us out there, or some out there that are just like you're trying to figure out. Maybe you prefer from scratch, or maybe you prefer this source or that source. And I think all I'm saying is this is another tool for you to consider. So hopefully that helps. Now I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to discard rubric changes, and I want to try another idea with the rubric. Now, to do this other idea with the rubric, what I'm going to have to do is I need to pull up some notes. Okay. While you can't see all my notes, I will make sure to share many of these notes and things once the stream is done. Okay, so I'm scrolling through my notes here. All right, give me a second here. I saw a screen change on the rubrics. So let me get down to. I want to just give it a few things in terms of I want it to try maybe. Let's see. I'm gonna copy and paste this. I may be getting too specific. You could do that. We were talking about the learning modules. You could do that, of course, with the learning modules too. Okay, we'll go back to generate rubric, and let's see. Okay, that's probably going to be too specific, okay, double spacing. The comma separation, I may have to. This might mess it up if I don't maybe give it proper comma separation. But what I'm trying to put in the description box basically is some things I'm looking for. So what if I just go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Why don't I think maybe I can just start with 8, and let's make a change. So I might want to take that. Let's see, heading and pagination. I think I could do that. Why don't we'll make a change on this one. And we're going to edit this rubric live. It's going to take a second, but if I do this, we'll go heading and pagination. We'll put a comma, double spacing. Let's go. It doesn't have to be Times New Roman 12-point font. It's just really a sample. You could use Calibri Arial. Really just trying to edit a few things. I could say indent paragraphs, use tab. I could reword this. After periods, we need to put. Okay, one space after periods. This is a little, maybe a roundabout, messier way. But I'm just saying that because I'm doing this right here on the stream. But really, it's going to be a clean way of doing it because you're going to type all that. You're going to think about the stuff you want, type it in, try it, see what works. You may put it all in with commas, without commas. I'm trying here to see, and I've done this before. I know the pitfalls and what's going to happen. Let's go. Let's see. We need to put the comma here. Okay, I might need to fix this one. Okay, and then I'm going to add a comma. And AI does a pretty good job. I probably could get away with just putting it all in there. As I could put it in sentences, I could put a run on, commas, no commas. While you do get varied results, let's see, spelling, grammar, ticket, program. We'll just put, this will probably help. And then, okay. Let's see how it does. So that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, hopefully I'm getting that right. Okay, so let's see. I think the columns, but maybe we can do, well, I'm going to try not defining it and see if it catches it all. While it's doing that, I think I'll take a quick drink of some coffee in the morning. Oh, thank you. I think having some coffee while you do this, I may have to make that a regular thing. It just, I don't know, it just shows the realness. So let's see how it did here. Content, organization, formatting. Wow, this is pretty cool. So it's taking what it's been fed or programmed and using that as well as what I put in the description, um, so that it's basically combining. It's a good example of combining, but you see that, um, this is really cool. It's still pulling the music and environment from the actual text inside the assignment, and you can see that. I'll highlight that on the screen. This is actually getting from the assignment. But you see it's pulling from what I put in the box. So it's pulling from the assignment here where you see music, environment, overall experience. That's actually in the criteria of the assignment that I typed. And for what I put in the box, you can see formatting. It's taking a look at the things I put in the description box and it's analyzing and it's saying, hey, all this stuff that I put in there, that, has to do with, formatting of the paper. So if I wanted to actually turn these into separate boxes, of course you could do that as well. But it's actually looking at where I say flow of writing, and now this is probably more of a program thing, but it is considering, okay, flow, it's organization, of course, writing style. So we're getting three things happening with what I'm doing in the description box, or what I'm doing with this generating rubric. Number one, it's pulling from the actual assignment criteria that is inside of Blackboard. Number two, it's pulling from what I put in the description and it's saying, okay, what is this? What is this professor putting in here? How do we apply it? And it was able to very smartly figure out, hey, this has to do with, flow, formatting, organization, and it gets it in the right spot, so that is pretty neat. So these rubric things are going to be really for anybody teaching any college course, or anybody working with rubrics in their classes. Let me tinker around a little bit more. Now, if I want to go to continue, I'll continue on the rubric here. And you can see I can set the percentages and I can edit, like I showed you earlier, where you can edit everything. You can edit you can edit the criteria, you can edit, the exceptional, proficient, competent, developing, or you've got, these are the big ticket items in terms of what are you grading on? I'm grading on content. Okay. What's the level of excellence in terms of the grading scale? Exceptional, proficient, competent, developing. Okay. So I'm not going to save this, but hopefully this kind of helps the rubric. Okay, discard changes. Sorry, rubric. We'll see you next time. Okay, the stream will keep going. We're just going to say bye to the rubric for now. So I think that's a pretty big ticket item of something that you can do. So that takes us through modules from a class that's already has a developmental shell, like it's ready to go, and you're just tinkering with modules inside of not a live class, but a dev shell, or possibly a master shell. Or developmental shells, we use them to prep for courses. Master shells, it's typically a shell that we're using to share amongst faculty, dual faculty, newly hired faculty, or any faculty, where it's got the course really it's pre-built, ready to go, and could be launched at any time. That's our master. But our devs we do training with dev shells, we do preps with dev shells, and it's really helpful to have that kind of stuff happening, have those options and things there. So I work with both of those kinds of things. Don't do this in live classes. You can, I suppose but you have to be careful. I would not suggest or recommend to open up a live class and start tinkering and playing around with that kind of stuff. Only because if something goes wrong, there can be other things that are unintended consequences of your experiments in a live class. But as long as you're comfortable, I mean, it's your class. If you do make sure there's something live, just be cautious of what you're doing. But I would try to avoid live class experimentation, um, unless it's a module that you're creating for practice in there that maybe is not visible to anybody, something like that. So try to stick to the developmental type things where you're experimenting, um, with all these really cool things. So, are there other things that we can do? Yeah, yeah. As I said, we're probably just going to scratch the surface, but I wanted to pick some really some areas that would apply to as many classes as possible. And so the modules and the rubric, those are those are some big ones. Now, if we take a look at where else could we go? I know I mentioned images earlier, and I feel drawn to images, and it's like I just want to jump to that like right away. But I think that maybe a better place to go before we talk about all the image stuff is take a look at, say, maybe like quizzes, assessments, and how all that's going to work, and then we can take a look at images. So what I want to do now is I want to find some quiz material. Take a look at, okay, can we you want to create a quiz, and it's already pulling, of course, from materials. So if I want to scroll up here, and I'm going to click on, let's go to module 1, the elements of music. We're going to create a quiz. I'm going to go to week 5, elements of music 4, and of course I already have a quiz there, but what I want to do is I want to create something. So I'm going to hit create. Okay, I'm going to scroll down. I want to create, in this case, a test. It's going to be a quiz, but test here. And we'll just call it practice. Make sure to spell it right. Practice quiz. I'll probably mess something up. I'll fix it if I need to. And I'm not going to worry about the assignment settings for today, because the point is to take a look at how we can auto-generate things, and AI assistant, how all that's working out. So I want to auto-generate questions. So the first thing I'm going to do, I click on auto-generate, and I want to see what happens when I don't give it anything. I just, now the question type will be important, because depending on what you want to do, just pay attention to, in the question type, we have inspire me, easy, fill in the blank, matching, multiple choice, true, false. You've got different kinds of things, so it'll just kind of mix them up if you don't specify. So it's kind of up to you. And while you can set complexity low to high, and we don't have a gauge necessarily, but you can kind of use the slider to adjust. And then number of questions. This, I didn't do anything. All I did was just open auto generate questions, and I just wanted to see, okay, well, what's it gonna come up with? And so, of course, as I know my class, and I'm scrolling through what it's coming up with, this is interesting. So I don't give it anything, and it's asking me who composed Symphony Number 9 in D minor. That's in the course, but it's not. So it's not in the module that I'm at. So this is interesting. Match the musical term with its definition. Okay, so I actually don't have all of these in. I don't have all the terms. So I talk about these terms in class and in lectures, but I don't think it's accessing from there. It looks to be that for this anyway, and from what I know about my course, even question 4, that's not in my class. That's pulling from something that's been programmed. So it looks like this is much more heavier in terms of what's been programmed on the auto generate feature for the AI stuff here. So now I want to try the parameters of actually pushing it to use my stuff. So as you can see, there is a mix and a match of this stuff, but in this case, it's more heavily weighted to what's been auto-programmed or fed for this particular run. Now, what if I'm going to change this to matching, and I'm going to select course items. Let's go to content. We're going to do module 1, the elements of music. And what if I just start picking some things? I'll do that. Okay, I'll go back. Go back to content. Go module 2. All right, let's pick PowerPoint. Okay, gonna go back. Let's go. Actually, we want to do one more. Let's do. We need to get that one. So I'm doing elements of music, PowerPoint, Elvis Presley PowerPoint, the Beatles. Let's see if we roll with this in terms of, and I'm gonna maybe put it about right there, and let's go with 10 questions. Now, that's as much as you're gonna get. I mean, if you're wanting to get more, maybe you'd probably have to do it, one PowerPoint or one, if you're using PowerPoints or text documents or whatever you're doing, notes. Heck, you could even upload lecture notes, hide them, and it could pull it from that. I'll have to experiment with, it's going to pull from different places. But as I said, it's going to pull from things that are feeder programmed. It's going to, you saw earlier, you got a blank slate and it pulls from just, 2 words. And what you're looking at now, as I said, it's just pulling from what's been, programmed. And now in this case, I'm saying I need you to focus on this specifically. These items focus on, and we're going to generate that and see what happens. All right, takes a second. Coffee break here. Okay, still generating. I'm giving it some very specific things in terms of auto-generate questions. I want it to all be matching. It takes some time. So as it's still running, it's still generating. Yay! All right, what do we got here? Which element is defined as a series of notes forming a distinct recognizable unit? That is exactly what's in my PowerPoint. That's pretty incredible. Which musical element is defined as the steady or even pulse? I probably would reword that, but that's pretty darn close to what's in my PowerPoint. Musical elements give shape, profile, vitality. Oh, this is it. It's question 3 exactly. It is pulling very accurately from like key things that are in my PowerPoint. This is interesting, and I don't put a lot of big, I don't put paragraphs and fancy sentences. My PowerPoints are very, 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 very brief. I'll show you samples of this because we're doing so much today. I want to make sure I go back and say, hey, remember the module thing? Here's what's in my module. I should do that as I'm doing it. Obviously, it'd make more sense. But as I keep scrolling, it's doing an awesome job of actually coming up with stuff from the PowerPoint. Okay. Prompts. Okay, we're going to talk about, let's see. If I look at number 10, we're going to talk about all these prompts and answers and what all that means a little bit later. For now, let's see. If we look at 10, which musical element is not a primary element of music? Melody, harmony, rhythm, dynamics. This is interesting. Okay. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, in this case, melody, harmony, rhythm, dynamics. So our elements are music, melody, harmony, rhythm, dynamics, texture, form, instruments, and vocals. I would need to do a fix on question 10. Let's, Well, this is auto-generated. Let's add, let's add this, and let's take it a step further. Maybe not. Yeah, we'll do them all because we need to see. Okay, how is this going to work for us? All right, we're going to add to the assessment. Okay. Yeah. This is quite interesting. Now, to see this, probably in terms of real time, I'd want to take the quiz, maybe from the student view, so you could kind of see how that works. This is quite interesting. So you can see it has, different prompts, and then it's saying, okay, which is not, obviously timbre, timbre. Yeah. So for each of choosing the same word for each prompt in terms of what is not an element of music, timbre. Okay. And then it's giving some distractors, to maybe confuse. This is interesting. Okay, you see, yeah. So I think that's some stuff that's even new for me in terms of the different prompts and answers, in terms of how that's pulling from different prompts and distractors. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Now, what if I make it visible and continue the experiment? Visible. Going to X out. Let's go to a student preview. Okay, we're going to go back to Module 1, the Elements of Music. Week 5, Elements of Music 4. Let's take a look at the practice quiz. All right, so now you see the quiz we just made in action from what the student would see. Cool, right? And we see which musical element is not a primary element of music. And then, now, see, this is probably where, yeah, I mean, I do create custom ones. There's probably going to need to be some tinkering to get this to work out the way that you want it. But I did. I think it's based on whether if you're selecting like matching. So if I'm telling the auto generate to, hey, I want you to do a matching thing, it's why it's doing this. But if number one is melody, then which element is not a primary element of music? Yeah, this is kind of wild. Yeah, I think I'd want to play around with maybe the words here. Maybe I'd want to have some different words. But still kind of a cool thing. I'm not sure that I would necessarily go with this. I'd probably want to change some of the words. I'm going to X out of here. And then I'm going to exit out of student preview for a moment. Yeah, I'm going to discard. We're not going to save all that. But I do want to go back to, want to finish the conversation on this quiz idea. Okay, so we're back to week 5, Elements of Music 4. We want to continue playing around with this quiz idea. Okay, I'm going to try this again. Create. I'm going to say test. Okay. All right, practice quiz. Okay. Auto generate question. All right. Now I'm going to look at, let's try, see, I did matching. Maybe multiple choice would be a better way to start, but if I try matching, now I didn't even do anything, but auto-generated just went. Let's hit multiple choice. And let's go back to select course items and kind of keep this rolling. Let's maybe just try one of them. Well, we're gonna need more. What if I do, let's get a few more. It's like, oh, you can't just do one. Okay. All right, we got the third one. Okay, what if I do that one? Okay, that one's good. We need, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try that. And we're gonna go with, in this case, multiple choice. And I'm not gonna put anything in here. Let's generate. And that's going to take a second. What we're trying to do is give it some things here. All right, so I've selected multiple choice on the question type. I left the complexity a little bit past the halfway point. 4 questions. I mean, I could add more, but question 1, what is dynamics? The loudness or softness of sound. Okay, that is pulling exactly from the PowerPoint. What is rhythm? Organization of time and music. Exactly from the PowerPoint. What is melody? A series of notes forming a distinct recognizable unit. It's from the PowerPoint. I would change that. I like to use a different wording on that, but I do have that, in my PowerPoints. I do put, vocab words, definitions, very short and sweet kind of things. Harmony. Yep. It is actually, this is 100% pulling from my PowerPoint. It's really specific on this one. Now, in the define questions, if I want to get more specific, I can use the description box in terms of, maybe that's if you're not pulling from PowerPoints or other source material in the course, and that's where I would use this. So in American music, I'm not going to do the quiz thing, but I know it's like we forgot the period on that third paragraph for quizzes. So what we can do right now is we can jump to, okay, if I want to put, a course image in American music, well, what can I do? So you can see right now, looks like there might be something there, or maybe there's some kind of placeholder, or maybe it's just not showing or working. Let's double check that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so I did have something in there. It wasn't showing the way it should be. Again, sometimes these things happen. Now, what I want to do here, I'm gonna find an image that I can use. So let's do, in American music, let's take the image route, and we'll go to course image, edit display settings, and you're not gonna see the image. You'll see it when it pops on the screen. But what I'm doing now is I'm going over to one of my folders, and I'm just gonna find, my different banners and or images, and you're gonna see an image. Now it's popping on the screen that I got from one of my folders, and it's showing the preview and the labeling and the numbering. I will typically take all this number business off when I do it this way, but you do want to keep your files organized on folders and cloud computing, and however you're doing that on the back end or front end of classes or whatever. So I get the preview, click next. I'm going to adjust. I'm not going to zoom in, although I can zoom in, zoom out. I'm going to give some space when it crops down. It'll be pretty good for what I'm wanting. It's going to process the image. You're going to see that, okay, cool, rock and roll. And I'm going to go to course image, accessibility, alternative text. For now, I'll mark this image as decorative for the time being. Course banner is on. A course card. Okay, this one I use as a course card image. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, that's default. All right, so now I want to save that. Yay, course image. Cool, right? Quick and easy. I licensed this from Adobe. You can license from Adobe Stock Elements. You can get things from Envato. You can use other tools, AI tools to help you with images, or even, of course, Blackboard. Now, if I click on the pencil once the image is there. Actually, of course, you take a look and see, okay, do we have some other options? All right, yes, you do. So in this case, for the course image, one of the things you can do, you can either upload from your device or you can use stock images from Unsplash. And you wouldn't have to do very much. It actually takes the text and puts it from your course in there. Now, I could, go, American music. And, I could put some pretty specific things to see what's there. But maybe you just want to put a concert. Maybe you want to put, what if you put, I don't know, let's do rock and roll. What about that? And maybe you want, you're trying to say, okay, will this actually work? Can this work? Will this image work? And then just define, where you want it. Obviously, I can. Just all you're doing really is experimenting with things. So as you run your experiments, trying to figure out, like, okay, I'm just playing with it here. So not what we wanted, but the idea is that you can play with this. We're not talking about AI on this one, just a tool, a feature that you can use. I'm just going to click one, just a quick click from Unsplash, not worry about the labeling per se. So it really is just more of a tinkering in terms of, placing the grid where you want it to be, zooming in, zooming out, these kind of things. So at this point, you're really just kind of tinkering. You're like, okay, you can pretty much make anything work that you want to work. So it's just obviously you do these kind of things, right? So let me try. Now, because the image was blurred out, I probably wouldn't use that. But again, you just keep playing and tinkering. I'm going to cancel that and leave what I have. Okay. Some other cool things that you can do with images. Let's go over to in the American music, which was our blank slate that we used for modules with the auto generate tool on Blackboard. So what about we'd have to create we have to an assignment, a document, text. Let's see. I can create, what if I maybe create an assignment, and we can call it about journal 1, and I want some kind of image here. So I'll click add text. All right, insert content, and you have image from URL, media, like a lot of really cool things that you can do. If I just go over to image, you see I've got something pretty cool here that wasn't on the course image. So for this assignment, I can use these stock images from Unsplash, or I can generate. Now, I've already ran the stock image thing. Probably it's going to work better here, but I'll do one more time in terms of this, and you can see that it's journal and music. It's pulling from the journal word that I labeled, but it's also pulling it like, hey, this is a music course from the labeling of the course. And I can just pick one and go. I can try to get more specific or see how my results are from Unsplash. And then same thing where you're zooming or cropping and getting all this ready to go. This is really cool. Now, let's see, display name. I'm going to put music, journal, accessibility. Person writing on brown wooden table near white ceramic mug. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? So you're using something like Unsplash, and it's like it does the alternative text for you. And the thing about alt text or alternative text is a screen reader is going to say, this is an image of, and then, you know, I probably should double check. Is it going to put the A in there? This is an image of. Golly, I hope so. But if it didn't, I mean, certainly that's something we could do. But this is pretty good. Person writing on a brown wooden table near a white ceramic table. I could add that in there if I want a person. I could go ahead and put the period if you like. To really know how the alt text works, you got to run those experiments with screen readers on your own. The way to really know, and I've done this before, I'm trying to recall, does it actually put in, I know it does say image of. Now things are going to change. There's going to be edits, revisions, all kinds of tweaks that you're going to want to make, and technology is going to be ever evolving and changing. But you can mark it as decorative if that's truly the case. But it's also good to understand, what a screen reader does, how it works, and should it be a sentence, a fragment? Do you put a period? Do you put the articles or whatever? It's good to kind of check that stuff out. Now, I can set the file options: view, download, view only. I'm just going to do view only. I've got the alt text in there. Save it. Cool. And that's a big image, so I could play with it in terms of getting the size that I want and placement. But that's just an example of using, Unsplash and alt text and how all that, something really cool. Oh, I may have left it a little bit too quick, but hopefully that helped a little bit. Now, we go over and we take a look at, try this again, and so we add text first, and I click on image. Now we want to go to generate images. And we're doing this for an assignment. So if we're going to generate an image for a journal. Now, of course, we could get more specific in terms of what it's all about. I could, it's just pulling. Okay, this isn't. You can see some tests that I've saved. We'll try music journals and see how the generate images feature works for us. It does take a second. All right. There we go. Okay, so it's getting music. It's not doing as well as I would like. It's getting more of a music concert. So really, it just comes down to experimenting on describing the image that you want. Music. What if I say American Music Journal? Or I can try American Music Journal and see how that goes. A lot of it is an experimentation and tinkering here. I think that's what takes the longest. Even as I look at our stream today and look at the things we're covering and the pitfalls and things that the generating images is going to take time, and there's going to be continued learning and continued updates, and sometimes things are going to break and not work the way that you want it. But keep tinkering. I think that's the key. Keep tinkering. So we're getting closer to something we could use for an American Music Journal. But if we want to, and I could pick one. But if we want to do, say, if I just click on one, okay, and I say, okay, well, what's next after that? And it puts it in there. Now the same thing. I'm going to cancel this. We did that a moment ago. Let's try another image idea in terms of generating images. Basically using a Blackboard AI here. Oh, sorry about that. We'll go generate images again, and why don't I do, if I just put journal, let it generate for a second, see what it gives us. It's taken a second. Now, if it doesn't give what I want to, I think the challenge is when I say music journal. Okay, this is not working out the way you want. Let's go. If I try English journal. Now, when I ran the test, it actually did a lot better than this. I did run the test in a different class. But see, the challenge is where I'm at right now, I don't have a place to pull from. So it's not doing so good here. I think what would be good is to try, let's close this. Let's say that if I open up something else, I'm going to share a different tab with you. Okay. If I share, say, this is summer, July, music appreciation dev shell. What if I go to something that's already, got an image? Like I'm in Elvis, and let's say I'm over, okay, this is, of course, last summer. And I'm going to go to, let's take a look at this journal. And this is it's a good place to go here. You can see Music and Video Journal 5, Hound Dog. Too many things not working the way we want it today, but we're going to find those answers. All right. So I'll click on the horizontal dots. I'm going to edit. And we're going to go to image. And in this case, I'm going to click one of the things I want to do. I want to make sure I save the settings. Let's see. I'm going to take the image from the URL. I want to be able to put this back in. So I'm going to copy this for a second so that I can keep my place. All right, so when the experiment is done, I can put all my information back. Yeah, that's not the best alt text. Sorry about that. I need to fix that. I should say something like, this is a splash of musical notation, something like that. Or I mark it as decorative, which really that's what it is. I know this is focus today is not necessarily alt text, but of course it's a huge, very important part of all the image stuff. Okay, so I've just copied and pasted in my notes because I'm going to end up having to delete this one. So let's just do that. Let's delete it. And we've played with Unsplash a little bit already. Let's generate images. And first thing we're looking at is just what's going to pop up here. We're going to see how it pulls, what it pulls. And then we'll add in something on describe image. Okay, so we're waterfall. Yeah, that's not helpful. So how about I do? Why don't I do something like this? And then go back and we'll generate images and we'll try this. Hound Dog, Elvis Presley. Let's see if it gets us a little bit closer. It may or may not. I mean, I could put in there journal, musical notation. It's okay. So we're getting closer. Well, we're getting musical stuff in there. We're definitely getting closer. Now, what if I just put Elvis? Let's see. How's that gonna do? And if not, I can think about this in terms, okay, there's probably not enough information that's been better programmed for this to work from the Blackboard AI assistant. And also, it's, of course, going to get better and better as you use this more and more. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, we don't get the king per se, but we're getting a lot closer to something that would be more appropriate for the assignment. So what if I do a different direction where I'm just thinking, okay, how about just musical notes, colorful. This thing, it can go all day long, and I have spent way too many hours probably playing around with different, whether it's fragments, complete sentences, commas. It's like there's a lot of things to experiment with. I wish I could do everything all today. We're going to have to wind down here in a moment, but hopefully with the stuff we've been covering in the live stream, that hopefully I just want to try to help people, save a little bit of their time. That's really cool. Musical notes, colorful. Yeah, that is interesting. So if I try, maybe, what if I go drums, or what if I just put drum set, generate. And I could do, I made a list here of like different things. I could put music journal, we could put drums, we could try violin. Basically, if you try some of these, maybe but you're just trying different keywords to see what's going to pop up. That's pretty interesting. Okay, what if so we get some drum set stuff in there. What if I put biology class? I mean, obviously we could, you could put frog, beaker, elements, math formulas. You just got to tinker. See what happens. What if we put, okay, I'm not going to read that like super close, but maybe it's a hit, maybe it's a miss, maybe it's we're middle in the warm in the middle, something like that, where it's like, okay, well, maybe not, or wait, who are they talking about? No, are those images going to work? Maybe not. What if I put lab? You want a lab image. Sometimes putting like too much information could be information overload, and it mixes and matches so many things that may not be what you're looking for. But I would experiment with keywords, words where there's commas. Certainly you could try a sentence explanation. I don't know that I'd make it too long, because it's going to have to make decisions. Now, what's interesting is lab. It's thinking more of like a musical studio, but it's based on, it's starting to do a better job of pulling from the course. So it's like lab, and in my mind, I'm thinking like, some kind of a science, science lab, a lab where you're actually doing things, chemistry lab, science labs, so I'd have to go like, what if I did, I have to give it a little bit more to go on, but it still may associate this more with my course and not biology. So part of that is I have so much information music related, and I've got to steer it or lead it in the right direction. But I mean, yeah, so it's still doing the same thing. It's like, hey, no, this is a music class. Probably going to be, it's going to be a different case. But I did run this experiment, and I was actually getting the stuff that I was really was hoping to get. If I just say like, what about something random just as a test in here to see if it'll generate what I'm looking for, like a race car. We're checking that now. Sorry, I need to take a drink of coffee there. Now, many of you will be watching this after the stream. Yeah, it's not doing so good right now. It's having a real issue with, hey, you're saying race car, but your class is about music, professor. So this is interesting. Now, in the last few days as I ran these tests, I actually did get it to work in some of the different dev shells to get all these things. But what's interesting, if I could create an assignment right now, and if I don't put too much information in there and I put that's where it gets really cool. Now, I need to reset this. So let me go back to image from URL. I'm going to copy and paste because I'm using permanent URLs from the back end. Something I talk about in a different video, and check that out if you're interested. I'll put let's change this. Image of a musical maybe a musical splash of, maybe a little bit wordy. I'm going to leave it for now, just for time's sake. The screen reader is going to say an image of musical splash of notes. Sure, I can of course put 1 to 2 sentences, but for now, we'll just leave it at that. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, we're going to save. All right, we're going to get out of here. I'm going to go over to a little bit underneath music and journal. We're going to create. Okay, I'm going to hit assignment. Okay, here we go. Now, I don't want to auto-generate question. I'm going to add text. And I'm going to try something. I'm going to put, just for fun. Now I'm just having fun because we're going to end here in a couple minutes. Okay, I put race car. let's see if this actually helps the image generation Blackboard AI assistant here. Okay, it's going. I hope it works. If it doesn't, I mean, certainly going to keep experimenting. Yeah, you see that? That is really interesting. So that's what I got to work the past couple of days, and even in all the days and weeks I've been testing all these things. I've been working on these things actually for many months and weeks in different apps and programs in terms of the use of AI. So it's right on the money. I didn't actually say race car. It actually pulled from the text. Now, it has race car in the text, so you see describe image. I didn't have to. It's pulled from the text. Now, what if I were to put, it says race car in the text, but what if this sounds random, but what if I put Mozart? But in the text, it actually says race car. Now, let's see if let's see what happens. It seems random, but these are the kinds of tests I've been running, where there's no text, or there is text, or you have contradictory text, and you're trying to see where the pull is on the image generation. You see what I mean? That is incredible. Do you see that? Mozart in a race car? Wicked. Mozart is in a race car on a piano. Wicked. I mean, this is what I'm saying. It is pulling from the actual text. It is pulling from the text that I typed. It's pulling from the describe image text I put in. It's pulling from the chorus. It's got, we're talking number one, the type text I put in assignment content. Number two, the describe image text that I put in. Number three, what the actual title or name of the course. Number four, things that have been better programmed to help kind of either nail down some parameters or guides, and just to kind of poof, here you go. That's cool. So obviously a lot more we could do in terms of the image generation, but I hope you're gonna get really excited by the experimentation. Maybe I just want to put some folder icons, but if I click on module 1, the elements of music, we're going to edit that, and I'm going to go down to image. Okay, you can see on insert image, I can do stock images from Unsplash, or I can generate images. So it's like you have those same options. Now you won't see these everywhere, like you don't see them on the course banner or the main course image. But in this case, I'm just gonna upload something. So I'm gonna put, let me go to one of my folders here, icon, and I'm just gonna put folder 1. You'll see it pop up on the screen any second now. So how about that folder? Yay, we have a folder. I like it as is. Put it in there. Processing image. Mark it as decorative. Good to go. How about that? Cool. And the next one. I'm gonna go over here. Gonna add an image. Let's see. Let's upload, and I'll experiment with one. Let's do a different color. I got these from Envato Elements. I licensed them. You can make your own. Maybe you can make these in Illustrator. You probably could make some of this in, say, Canva or Photoshop, but really this kind of stuff you'd want to do in another program possibly, but I license them. But I can make them too. You don't have to do all that though. You can license images for free on Unsplash. You can generate AI images. You could use Illustrator and make them on your own. You can license them. I think the thing is you got options here. That's really the big thing. So I'm just going through, hey, cool. I get module 1, module 2. Okay, what if I keep going? Module 3, click the image. Okay, I keep clicking that because I kind of want to do one more before we go. Let's get a different color here. You're not seeing my folder on my notes on the computer, so I'm kind of have all that prepped here. We're going to save that as soon as it's ready. Cool. Now let's go to module 4. We're going to get that image in there. Okay, upload file. Okay, I want to add that image. Okay, and I I use different ones for these. Typically, for start here, I might use something like a pencil, and if there's a end of course wrap, I might use something else. So I'm gonna leave the folders as just some icons that I license, but maybe I can say for this one, what about for the end of course wrap? Can we try something with the images there? Can we try Unsplash for one and then generate for the other? So how about uh, end of Yeah, I mean, maybe I probably could do a little better job of that. But it looks like I'm giving them something to start with. If they could get more, maybe based on that classroom, but I need to do a better job on the explaining. Either way, we're going to give this a shot. Let's see how it works. Processing image. Okay. Okay, so yeah, it's cool. I mean, if I do something like that, I'd probably want to match the style and flow of the course. So if I'm going to use the folders, I'm going to keep that flow the same in terms of, the white space, transparency, background, that kind of thing. Uh, whether it's a colored background, a white background, transparent, whatever you're going to do in terms of all that design, whether it be Canva, Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe Stock, Envato, or Unsplash, or in this case, using the built-in AI assistant. I mean, you do, but it's kind of cool. I mean, isn't that neat? You got a college classroom. I mean, so maybe I could put like some kind of congratulations or whatever, but we're learning how to use these tools. So now if I want to go up and let's try, we did the generate image or the Unsplash. Let me go back to that one. Module 5 into course wrap. Let me double check that one. What if let's try. I'm just going to put that. Generate image. Let's try college real quick, and then we'll go back. That's interesting. How about if I can spell it right? College campus, congratulations. I was just curious. Okay, still generating. A little more coffee there, thank you. Yeah, maybe. I could still keep tinkering with this. You say I have a picture in there. I mean, I can put in there because it's focusing on more the graduation. But what if I put final exams? Or I could put university in front or after. Final exams, university. Let's see if that helps our parameters a little bit. Okay, still generating. Okay, so it's focusing more on the graduation aspect. I'm going to cancel that for now in terms of generating. I think I like the classroom the best so far. So that was generating the image. Let's go to the start here. We're going to try something with click on the image, and let's go ahead and do stock images from Unsplash. Right now, just generating, retrieving. Okay, start here. That's pretty killer because you can see that it's putting start here. It's basically putting information that is in the module description in the search box, and then it's bringing things up. So yeah, this could work. If I do that, I just have to remember in terms of like the flow and obviously zooming in, zooming out to what I want, moving the image. Staying with decorative images for now. Okay, so we don't have quite the style matching that I would typically have in my courses, but part of that is just experimenting with, 3D icons, experimenting with Unsplash, but also experimenting with generating images. So cool. Hope all this is helpful. That's all I got. So thanks, everybody. It was a great time today. I really enjoy this. Check out some of the other videos. And Professor Ron with Blackboard Tips and Tricks. I'm out. I'll see you next time. Bye.